I'm sure has everything to do with the food and not really with me at all, but I still appreciate you coming. My name is Ashley. If you guys could take your evaluation form and just fill out, my name is Ashley Larson, Larsen. We have some extra pens around. And then you can just put the date and the title. And then you can fill these out at the end. So I am a registered dietitian. So I've been a registered dietitian for 9 years, and I've been in the field doing lots of different things, helping people with lots of different conditions and helping them with their nutrition. And so to become a registered dietitian, you have to get your bachelor's degree in science nutrition. And then we have to do a residency program, which is about a year-long supervised practice where we go in lots of different settings and work with other dietitians. And then we sit for a registration exam, which is a national board. And so then we become registered dietitians, and we have to keep up continuing education. So we are the nutrition experts in the field. So I know that there is a lot of nutrition information out there. Everybody wants to give you their opinion and information. We just want to make sure it's coming from a credible source. Dietitians, we are trained in the physiology, anatomy, and chemistry of our bodies and of food and how that interacts in our bodies and what that means for longevity and health and disease prevention. So I can answer a lot of different questions. If you guys have different things on your mind, please let me know, because I want to make this relevant to you all. But this is just some really helpful, basic information and tools that you can hopefully take with you after this presentation and start to implement. When there's a lot of nutrition information out there, it can be very overwhelming, right? You can kind of feel like you have to do all these different things in order to become healthy. But in reality, research shows that the smallest change makes the biggest difference. So, even just increasing your fruits and vegetables up to 3 to 4 servings a day can prevent your risk for disease by up to 40% compared to people that don't consume fruits and vegetables. So just making that one little change, can really make a big difference. So yeah, please, if you have questions, I want to make this interactive. So objectives, we're going to go over how to read a nutrition label and why that's important. The power of food diaries, importance of breakfast, some healthy lunches and dinner ideas and meal planning ideas, and how blood sugar, fiber, and sugars all work together and what that means. Okay, so here's 2 different food labels. So we have 2 different snack bars side by side. So the first thing you want to look at, of course, is the serving size, right? Because that serving size determines all of these numbers. So sometimes we think we're getting a package of something and that's 1 serving, but in reality, if you look on the label, it's maybe 3 servings. And so you have to multiply all these numbers by 3 if you eat the whole package, right? So the serving size is 1 bar, so 48 grams versus 40 grams in weight, so they're about the same size. So we have 180 calories and 200 calories, so not much difference. And then when you go to the calories from fat, you have 45 calories in the first one versus 140 calories from fat in the second one. That means that the second one has a lot of fat in it, right, or more fat at least. So then you get to the actual nutrients. So this is where you get the percentages. Does anybody know what the percentages mean? DV percentage. Okay, so that stands for daily value percentage. So that means whatever that percentage is the percentage that you need to meet. That is how much you're eating for your entire day, right? So it's 5 grams of fat, 8% in that first bar. That's 8% of your daily need of fat in that 1 bar, okay? The next bar is 23% of fat. That's 23% of fat that you need for your entire day. So just with 1 bar, you're already eating a quarter of your fat for that whole day. So that's a lot, I would think, right? So an easy way to look at labels is to look at that percentage. So if you want things low, if you want your fat to be low, if you want your cholesterol to be low, if you want your sodium to be low, look at this percentage. It's just a really quick and easy way to figure out if it's low or not. If it's less than 5% of your daily needs, that's considered low. Okay, if it's more than 10%, then that's considered high. So this would be pretty high in fat, pretty high in saturated fat. And it's actually pretty good in sodium here. So you're okay there. So then we have the healthier kind of items on the bottom here. So you have your potassium, which is really good for your heart health, carbohydrates, and your fiber. We actually want your fiber to be high. So you want that to be above 10%. You're at 28% here. So that's 30% of your daily fiber needs in one little bar. That's pretty good. So, any questions? Questions on this? No? So another thing that's not shown here is the ingredient list. You guys ever look at the ingredient list when you buy things? So a lot of fancy packages will kind of trick you. I was looking at some protein powders the other day. It was like a vegan, healthy protein, and then you had like this regular whey protein or whatever. The healthier looking protein had like 500 milligrams of sodium per serving, where the other protein only had 95 milligrams of sodium per serving. So that's why it's so important to look at these labels, because packaging can really fool us a lot of the time, marketing and stuff. So it's really good to understand these. So ingredient list is everything that's in the food, right? But it's listed from most to least. So the first 4 ingredients is what the product is mostly made up of. So if you're looking at like bars or snack type foods, it's really nice to look at those ingredients to see what exactly are they putting in here, and they're not all equal, right? So sometimes I'll look at different granola bars or things, and the first 4 out of the 5 ingredients are different forms of sugar. So, so that's like, okay, this has a lot of sugar in it. Or if you want to look for ingredients that are whole foods, look for the ingredients like less preservatives, it's really nice to look at the ingredient list for that. Okay, so what would you say, what bar would you say is better? What was it? The left side, the first one. Yeah, or I'm sorry, the first one. Yeah, I would say so, because you're going to get like less fat, right? They were both pretty low in sodium. They both had good amount of fiber. So you're going to get a little bit more protein in the first bar. So I think that was a good one. All right, so eating out, some different tips. So we all will likely eat out, right? We all live busy lives. We want to eat out. We want to have that experience. But there are some things that you can do just to make that a little bit healthier for you, to still stay on your nutrition plan. I like to think of eating out as like a time to enjoy somebody else cooking for you, somebody else cleaning for you, not having to worry about that kind of part of it. But it doesn't mean you always have to indulge in the richest foods when we eat out. We can still eat pretty healthy and enjoy the other aspects of eating out. So you can definitely ask for substitutions, modifications. There's a lot of places that will do little changes for you. Like if you don't want the fries for a side, you can usually get like a salad or steamed vegetables. Filling your plate with color. So color means nutrition. So we get color from vitamins and minerals. So the more color you have on your plate, the more nutritious this is. Ordering off the appetizer section, sometimes depending on where you're at. So sometimes it could be better. Usually it's smaller portions, but sometimes it can be like higher fat food, so you never know. But usually appetizers are smaller. You can find like some more interesting type foods, like some different flavors and things that you might be more fun to eat. Thinking about how your food is being prepared. Has anyone ever worked in a restaurant here, in a kitchen? Yeah. So you probably saw they add like a lot of butter to their food, right? Yeah. So when you're eating out at a restaurant, they add a lot of butter, a lot of oil. That's why it tastes so good. A lot of salt. So it might taste better at the restaurant than when you make it at home. So just thinking about how it's being prepared, right? If it's being fried. So if you look for baked, broiled, steamed, those are going to be lighter options for you. So looking for those keywords. Don't go to the restaurant starving, because of course you're going to want to eat everything inside, especially if they bring out chips or bread or stuff like that. So try not to fill up on those types of things. If you have enough willpower to say, don't bring me the chips, but you can't do that, or just, not get the extra baskets and try not to fill up on that stuff. Don't drink your calories. The reason for this is because the calories in our drinks don't fill us up. So you're just getting extra calories for no real reason. Your body's not going to feel full. So you're going to get extra calories when you drink, but you're still going to eat the same amount of food. So you're just adding on calories to your meal. So if you can get like a diet version or just water or tea, that's going to save you some calories there. Eating too fast. So we eat fast when we're distracted. So at restaurants, you know, you're with people, you're talking, there's a lot of stuff going on, so you're not really paying attention to how much you're eating, especially if you go hungry, right? You're going to eat a lot faster. So that tends to lead to us overeating. So you start to feel, you know, you recognize after like 15 minutes you're so full, like, oh, I didn't need to eat that much, right? So a good tip on this is to try to eat like on a smaller plate. If you tend to overeat a lot at restaurants, they bring out this big, huge, you know, plate of food. You can always ask for like a little salad plate and then just serve yourself a small amount on this smaller plate, and that will help slow you down a little bit and will help you to probably eat less too. So just trying to like pay attention to that, and it helps you to digest your food slower. You guys have probably heard it takes about 20 minutes to register, for your brain to register if you're full. That's actually true. It does take a while for your body to register that you're actually full. So you eat faster than you realize you're full, you're going to end up being really full at the end. Any questions or comments on eating out? No? Okay, meal planning tips. So when you're cooking, it's nice to cook a little bit of extra food. You can always put it in the freezer for the next week or for, you know, a later date. Anything that goes into the freezer, as long as it stays frozen and your freezer doesn't break down, it will never go bad. Okay, so it stays good. It can be in there for a couple months and it's fine. It's nice to have tools on hand, like rice cooker. You can make rice for the whole week. You can do a slow cooker. Those are nice. You know, set it in the morning, come home and your dinner's ready. Blenders, steamers, different kitchen tools. Keeping some cooked or fast cooking grains on hand. So this kind of speeds up your dinners at night. So grains meaning like brown rice, pastas, quinoa. So has anyone seen those little microwavable pouches of rice at the grocery stores? I love those things because I always burn my rice. So I love those. So they're just like little 2 servings in there. So, you know, anytime you're getting stuff like that, you just, again, want to look at the nutrition label. So there's a lot that is just the grains that are in there, but some have sauces and sodium added to it. So, so those are really nice. The freezer section usually has like microwavable, steamable quinoa, steamable brown rices, things that you can just throw in the microwave really quickly. Those are helpful. You can also batch cook, which means cooking like large amounts of something that you can eat for the whole week. So the quinoa or big batch of rice or something like that you can keep and mix in salads and mix into different dishes. Frozen berries and frozen vegetables are awesome to keep on hand. So again, it's not going to go bad in the freezer, right? Everything's going to stay. So it's just nice to have, if you're running low on fruit or vegetables throughout the week, it's nice to have a backup. So they're not going to go bad, and they're usually cheaper, and also they're frozen at its peak quality. So that means like they're just as nutritious, and even some studies show they're a little bit more nutritious even than fresh fruits and vegetables in some aspects. So you don't have to worry about quality, you know, compromising on any quality when you're getting frozen fruits and vegetables. You're still getting really good quality. Any questions? Okay. So snacks are really helpful, again, to avoid getting too hungry during the day. So when we get too hungry, like when we talked about eating out, we overeat typically, right? So it's nice to have those snacks on hand. But the key is to have the right snacks, because when we're snacking on like crackers or cookies or chips, those don't fill us up, because carbohydrates is what we use, our body just burns through them, right? So you're not going to really fill up on that kind of stuff. So it's really good to have some kind of protein and some kind of fiber for your snack. That's what helps you stay full. The point of a snack is just to get you out of that hungry state, back to kind of neutral, to get you to your next meal. So having like nuts, nut butters, crackers with those nut butters, beans are good, like they have like little, you know, like little chickpeas, like the dried chickpeas. Those are kind of nice to snack on instead of chips, because you get good protein and fiber and veggies. All right, so the importance of breakfast. So I know a lot of people sometimes aren't breakfast people, right? So like you don't feel hungry in the morning, you don't really want to eat anything, but breakfast is really important, and it doesn't mean that you have to eat right when you wake up. You know, it can be a couple of hours, give your body some time to wake up a little bit, and it doesn't have to be this big plate of food. It doesn't have to be eggs and toast and sausage, or it can just be a bar, or it doesn't even have to be breakfast food. It can be like a sandwich or soup or something. So just thinking of getting something in your body to kind of wake your body up and wake your metabolism up. A lot of the times I've worked with people that start to eat breakfast and then they start realizing that their body is naturally getting more hungry in the morning. And so that means that your body is waking up and your metabolism is starting, and when you feel hunger, it's actually your metabolism working and telling you to feed itself. So it's funny, like your body will start to learn to do that. So it does help to reduce your hunger later in the day. So that helps you to not overeat. That's when you skip breakfast, you tend to eat more at lunch and snacks and things like that. So, and it does give you energy for your day. So it kind of gives you that brain power and energy that to get you through that morning, and it helps you control your weight because it helps prevent overeating during the morning and the afternoon. So we want to have a balanced breakfast. So I always just say you need to have two things that are really important at breakfast. Is carbohydrates. That's our brain food. That's what's going to give us energy. So carbohydrates would be like your breads, your cereals, oatmeal, grains, fruits. And then you need some protein to keep you full. Protein helps to keep us full. So you have your energy from your carbohydrates and your protein, and it helps give you a really nice balanced energy for the morning. So some examples, some whole grain English muffins. You have your brown rice cakes, whole grain oats, oatmeal, and then your protein would be like peanuts, peanut butter, almond butter, nuts, seeds, eggs, any kind of meat, like turkey sausage, and then you can get your dairy, which you get a little bit more protein from that, so yogurt, milk, cottage cheese, and then fruits and vegetables. If you can get your fruits and vegetables in at every meal, that's ideal. You can always add those to omelets and oatmeal, smoothies. So did you guys know you can microwave eggs? Scrambled eggs? Yeah, I love to do that. So you can just get like a cup or like a mason jar, scramble some eggs, throw some spinach in there, some cheese, microwave it for like a minute, and you have a breakfast, and you're good to go. So it doesn't have to be anything super fancy. Smoothies are really good, especially if you're not a big breakfast person. Just doing like a protein shake in the morning. So you get your protein, throw in some fruit in there, you have your protein and your carbs, and you're good to go. Any questions on breakfast? Or anything that you guys do that's worked for you, on the go type stuff?
What's a good time for breakfast?
A good time? So I would say like try to keep 12 hours between your last meal and your first meal. So say if you have dinner at 6, having breakfast, you can have it as early as 6 a.m. if you want. You don't have to, but try to keep at least 12 hours in between. If you eat dinner really late, try to eat breakfast a little bit later, just to give your digestive system a break. But otherwise, within a couple of hours of waking up is a good time to have breakfast. You wake up at 6, if you can try and eat something by 8. Good. Any other questions? Alright, so here's some healthy snacks, some different ideas for you. So again, it does help to keep you from getting too hungry during the day. So it helps to satisfy that hunger, right? And it helps you to not overindulge at your meals. So if you're constantly like finding yourself eating a lot when you get home, like at dinner or right when you walk in the door. Maybe you need a little afternoon snack to help sustain you to eat less when you get home. So again, trying to get that fiber in and the protein together, having that combination. So you get apples and peanut butter, so you get your fiber from your apples and your protein from your peanut butter. Vegetables and hummus, nuts, and you can do dried fruit with your nuts, make your own little trail mix. Turkeys and cheese and whole grains and fruit. So those are just really healthy snacks that are gonna serve you the best during the day, keep you full, keep you energized. But really the purpose of snacks is just if you're hungry. So you don't have to eat a snack if you don't like to snack or if you don't feel hungry between your meals. You know, there's a lot of sayings out there, you have to eat every 2 hours, you have to eat every 3 hours. That's not really the case. It's just going back to that principle of trying to not let yourself get too hungry during the day. That's kind of where that came from. But it just depends on what works for you and your body. So you don't have to, if that makes sense. So any questions about snacks? No? Okay, I think a good rule of thumb too for your snacks is to be right around like 150 to 200 calories for a snack. That's a good size. Okay, healthy lunches to bring to work. So these are some good ideas for you guys. So something, when it comes to meals and putting your meals together, you just want those to be balanced. So what that means is to have some kind of carbohydrate, healthy carbohydrate, some kind of protein, and some kind of vegetable. So have you guys ever been out to eat, like at lunch, and you have like this big carb heavy meal, like French fries and hamburgers, right? And then you come back to your desk, and you're like falling asleep, like just nodding off, or just feel like super sluggish. It's because your meal wasn't really balanced. You have way too many carbs, it's high in fat, it's just hard to digest. All your brain flow is going to your stomach to digest all that food. So it's really helpful to have like a lighter, more balanced lunch just to give you that energy throughout the day that you need. So some ideas is just like a turkey sandwich, like what we're having today. So we've got lettuce, tomato, maybe some avocado on the whole grain bread, some salad with grilled chicken, quinoa, or you can use like pasta or rice and make it into a salad and put the beans and the veggies in there. Any kind of leftover soups, because soups tend to be pretty balanced. You have your protein, usually with like chicken or beef, and then you can have some beans or rice for your carbohydrates and throw a bunch of veggies in there, so then you have all your components. Egg salad or like a tuna salad on whole grain bread. Any questions on lunch? Okay, so some quick dinner ideas. So this goes back to kind of those healthier but easy to prepare items, like looking in your freezer section for things like microwavable grains, microwavable veggies, you know, steamable packs. Even in the produce section, they have, you know, fresh cut, already washed, packaged veggies, and you just steam them up in the microwave. They're super easy, or just open it up and throw them on a pan and you can roast them. So you should be able to get, you know, pretty much any dinner done in less than 30 minutes. It doesn't have to be a big production, right? So something that's super helpful is to make a menu for the week. So this is what would be considered meal planning, right? So figuring out what you got going on for the week and writing out like a couple of dinner ideas that you want to do. So that helps to formulate your grocery list. So if you have some specific menus that you want to make, then you make your grocery list off of that, and then you grocery shop, and then that way you really only have to go to the grocery store once or twice during the week. And then you know during the day, you know, what you're going to cook that night, and then you already have the items on hand. So that's really helpful. Doing like one dish meals. So have you guys seen those recipes for like one pan dinners, where you throw like your salmon on there, you got your veggies and your potatoes, and you pop it in the oven, and it's all done in like 30 minutes. So those are really nice. You know, you can do the one pan on the stove, or you can do your veggies and throw in your protein and throw in some beans or something to make it all just one pan, a lot less cleanup. cooking a little extra to have leftovers. I always like to take like leftovers for lunch. So if you're making a dinner, make enough for the next day as well. It's really helpful. So some quick dinner ideas, stir fry with chicken and vegetables over brown rice. You can do like some fish, sweet potatoes and vegetables, a stew, again with all those components in there, some crock pot, chilies or stews. So you kind of see how these are balanced, right? You have your vegetable, you have your protein, and you have your carbohydrates. So that's really the key to having a balanced meal, is having all of those things. So I want to do something with you guys real quick. Take your paper, turn it over to the blank side. Okay. Now draw a big circle, like that. Right across too. Okay, so this is your plate, all right? Big circle, this is your plate. Now cut your circle in half. Okay. Now cut one of your half circles in half. So draw a line down the middle on one of your half circles. Okay? So this is what your plate should look like. You have half of your plate, this open half. Fill this up with vegetables. Half of our plate should be vegetables. Any kind of vegetables you like. Peppers, onions, mushrooms, broccoli, cauliflower. And then a quarter of your plate should be your carbohydrates. So that's your grains, your starches, potatoes, rice, pasta, right? And then the other quarter should be your protein. So you have your chicken, fish, tofu, beans if you're doing the vegetarian protein that night. So that's just a good way to remember to have all the pieces and in what proportion. Have you guys ever seen this before? Yeah? Yeah, so it's called the plate method. So it's just a really easy way to plan your meals. So instead of thinking like, I can't eat this, I can't eat that, just think, do I have all my pieces on my plate? And then you got a complete meal right there. Okay, healthy eating for blood sugar. So this is in regards to type 2 diabetes and also in preventing type 2 diabetes. So really a diabetes meal plan is a healthy eating meal plan. It does not mean that because you have diabetes you have to eat differently than everybody else. Really, the plate method that I just showed you is healthy for everyone to eat that way, especially if you have diabetes. So what you eat can affect your blood sugar levels, right? And so when you have diabetes, you don't have the ability, the insulin that helps us to use our blood sugar. So that's one of the challenges with blood sugar and diabetes. But in reality, like everybody should be eating this way so that our insulin level stays stable and so that our weight is controlled and so we prevent diabetes too. Do you guys know what foods raise blood sugar or turn into blood sugar? Carbs. Yeah, so what are carbs? Bread, pasta, rice, fruit, milk has carbohydrates because it has sugar. So carbohydrates is just a big word for sugar, essentially. So any sugar that we consume breaks down to blood sugar, which is glucose in our bloodstream. So if you eat a cupcake or if you eat brown rice, it's all going to be broken down into glucose in your bloodstream. So the thing with carbohydrates is you want to have carbohydrates that have fiber because fiber acts like a speed bump to that blood sugar. So it helps to slow down that blood sugar absorption and it helps to absorb less blood sugar. Okay, so if you have a cupcake that's obviously full of sugar, you're going to absorb more sugar out of that cupcake than you are out of the brown rice. The brown rice has fiber, it has those speed bumps in there, it's going to slow things down. You're not going to have that big sugar crash roller coaster that we get on. So that's the difference in those two things, but they all still break down the blood sugar in your body. So diet and exercise can help with type 2 diabetes. So obviously diet, because we have to monitor how much sugar we're eating, how much blood sugar we're getting. But exercise, do you guys know why exercise is important with diabetes? It burns the sugar. Yeah, it actually helps to lower your blood sugar. Exercise does. It helps your blood sugars to get into your cells, just like insulin does. So it almost like mimics insulin. So it's really important, and of course it's really important for our overall health and to prevent diabetes too. So just getting in like more walking or any kind of exercise is really helpful. Try not to skip meals, especially if you do have diabetes and you're on blood sugar lowering medication. Skipping meals, you can run the risk of having a low blood sugar, which is dangerous. So we don't want to do that. But then too, when we skip meals, we tend to overeat, right? So you're putting more in and your body's having to digest more food and more carbohydrates, so that's a problem. You try to track how much you eat. So I think writing down what you eat and try to track it just to be a little bit more mindful of what you're eating, right? Because we can kind of go through our day on autopilot and like not even realize like how many trips to the candy bar, like candy dish we made that day, right? So it's just, if you're trying to be a little bit more conscious and a little bit more mindful, you don't have to track every calorie that you eat, you don't have to track all of that, but just even keeping a little diary, writing down what you ate, and just learning from it. Like, how did I feel this day when I ate this way? Or, is this helping me to lose weight the way I want to? Or, it does really help. Any questions on blood sugar? Alright, so this is just really going back to having that balanced meal. Like I said, just because if you have diabetes does not mean that you need to eat differently than everybody. Everybody really should be eating this way, a healthy meal plan. So eating lots of vegetables, preferably the non-starchy vegetables. So our starchy vegetables are considered more of our carbohydrates. So that's your peas, potatoes, sweet potatoes. That's your starchy vegetable. So any other vegetable is considered a non-starchy vegetable, which doesn't have a lot of effect on your blood sugar. Any of your fruits and whole grains. Lean protein. So healthy lean protein is your fish, chicken, poultry, beans, and eggs. So lean protein just means less fat, less saturated fats. Okay, you're going to have it's going to be less in calories because it's lower in fat, but then you're going to have less risk for heart disease with these proteins as well. So the processed meats is what you want to kind of limit. Just have every once in a while, like the bacon and sausage, lunch meats. Those have been linked to higher risk for heart disease and cancers as well. So you want to try to limit those. Choosing the whole grains versus the refined grains. So again, you're going to get more fiber out of the whole grain. The refined grains, the fiber has been stripped from it in the processing. So it processes these grains and takes a lot of the fibers out of it. So that's why the white breads are really soft and you don't see all that graininess in there. So the fiber is the stuff that we don't absorb. So that's where it gets a little more gritty. You see the brown, you see more kind of the fibers in there. That's what that is. Okay, so here's a little bit more on fiber. There's two types of fiber. So we have soluble and insoluble. So soluble helps to absorb the water. So it helps to absorb things in our digestive tract. So fiber is a carbohydrate, but it's a carbohydrate that we don't absorb. So it actually kind of goes through your body as like a magnet and like picks things up and takes them out. Okay, so that's why it's so important. And you only get fiber through carbohydrates. So the soluble actually helps to lower heart disease risk because it absorbs cholesterol in your digestive tract. So whatever you're eating, the soluble fiber helps to pick that up and take that out of your body. And so the different foods with soluble fiber are bran, barley, nuts, seeds, beans, lentils, and some fruits and vegetables. All right, and then we have the insoluble fiber. So you know, like celery has that stringiness to it, or maybe you have like kale and you like the stems and all that. So that's fiber. So it's the stringy, like gritty kind of stuff. That's what fiber is. So like if you ever juice and you get all the stuff that comes out of the juicer, that's the fiber. You're losing that when you juice. So that's what that is. So that's why we don't absorb it, right? But that's the insoluble fiber too. So that goes through your system. It actually is really helpful in digestion. So it helps constipation, it helps all that stuff move throughout your digestive system. So it's really helpful. Lots of fruits and vegetables have insoluble fiber. The wheat bran, seeds, and the skins of the fruit. So like on apples, you know, like the skin is kind of hard. That would be the insoluble fiber. Okay. All right, sweeteners. So sweeteners is kind of a hot topic, right? Are they healthy? Are they not healthy? Like, what should we do here? So they can be derived from naturally occurring elements, or even sugar itself. They have a really intense sugar flavor. They're actually like 1,000 times sweeter than regular sugar. So have you ever put like a whole packet of Splenda in your coffee, and then you put a whole packet of regular sugar in your coffee? The regular sugar coffee doesn't even taste sweet, and the Splenda coffee is like too sweet. You can't even drink it. So just keep that in mind when you're using these sugar substitutes. They're much sweeter, but we don't absorb them in our body. That's why they don't have calories, because they don't get absorbed. So that you have sucralose, Splenda, aspartame, which is equal or NutraSweet, and then saccharin, which is the sugar twin or sweet and low. We also have sugar alcohols that are not mentioned. There are a lot of sugar-free candies and things like that. So then we have like natural sugars, right? So you have honey and agave nectar and coconut sugar and all these like healthier type foods. They're promoting like cane sugar. Like, oh, I don't use fructose sugar, we use cane sugar, whatever that means. So it's all sugar, right? It doesn't matter what it is, it's all sugar. So again, going back to that food label, the nutrition facts label, that's going to give you the real facts. So don't be fooled by all of the pretty packaging and all the marketing and all of this, because no matter what it is, it's still sugar. It's not healthier. It's, sugar still should be used in moderation, no matter what kind of sugar it is. Any questions on that? Yes?
What are the sugar alcohols?
Sugar alcohol is a substitute sugar, so it's something that tastes like sugar, but it's not absorbed. It's like found in a lot of sugar-free candies, bars, different things. So it's the same thing. It's going to be like lower in sugar because it's a substitute, but it's just a different form. It can cause a lot of stomach upset if you eat too much of it. I don't know if you've ever had the experience of where you eat a lot of sugar-free candy. It's not good. Don't do that. So yeah, so just be careful with those. A lot of the sugar substitutes will cause like stomach problems. So because they're not absorbed, right? So then they can cause a lot of gas and stuff. So yeah. Any other questions on sugar substitutes? A little bit more information on them here. So pros and cons. So the benefit of using these substitutes is that they can control your weight if you are one that eats a lot of sugar, right? So if you drink a lot of sodas during the day and you switch over to maybe a diet soda, you could see some benefit from that with weight loss. There's a lot of people that say they don't see any benefit. You never know, but you can try that. It is a good choice for somebody with diabetes because, again, it's not absorbed, so in theory it does not raise our blood sugar. But a lot of times, like sweeteners are used in products that still have carbohydrates, so that they're still going to raise your blood sugar because, like sugar-free cookies still have carbohydrates because it's made with flour, right? So the flour has carbohydrates. So just because it's sugar-free doesn't mean it's carbohydrate-free. So you have to be careful again with that packaging there. They don't contribute to tooth decay like sugar does. And they are regulated by the FDA, just like all of our other foods, so that way you know that they're safe, there's nothing like dangerous that they're putting in there, so that's helpful. So the concerns, some concerns that they could cause health issues, like cancer, but it's never been proven in research. There are a lot of studies out there, long-term studies, over 20 years on people that consume these, and they've never seen any negative effects. There is one study a long time ago that did this on rodents, rats, and they gave them very, very high doses of aspartame, something that like a human wouldn't consume, and they did see signs of cancer in that. So I always just say, if you can eat less of them, that's great. You know, it's not a natural product, so you don't really know like what's going on there. So if you can cut back on it, say, you know, if you're having like 10 Splendas in your coffee every morning, maybe you want to cut back a little bit on that. But otherwise, it shouldn't, you know, it shouldn't cause any health problems. So yeah, moderation is the key. So something good came up in our last class in regards to soda. So you have diet soda, right? And is soda really as bad for you as everyone says? So, so the thing with dark sodas is that, so like diet soda, regular soda, Dr. Pepper, the dark colored, caramel colored sodas, is that it has phosphoric acid in it. So whether it's diet soda or regular soda, you're still going to get the phosphoric acid. So the phosphoric acid is actually damages our bones. It leaches out the calcium in your bones, so it can cause osteoporosis and a lot of other issues with your bone health. And it's also really hard on your organs. So your kidneys and your liver, it can damage that as well. So, but the clear sodas don't have phosphoric acid. They have citric acid, which has not shown to cause damage. So, if you wanted a soda, you know, maybe you could consider changing to the clear sodas. It's a little bit healthier.
What about the non-clear sodas?
Like which ones?
Mountain Dew.
Mountain Dew. I think that they use citric acid as well. It's okay, I'm not judging. Yeah, citric acid. So the citric acid is okay, yeah. You know, so that's just something to keep in mind. If you're having like 1 or 2 sodas a month, it's not a big deal. Like you're not going to probably see the risks from that. But if you're having
a day,
yeah, if you're having 2 a day, then that might be where you find some of the problems. So, and then I really like the carbonated waters too. If you guys have tried those are great. They're hydrating and they don't have the phosphoric acid. So if you like those bubbles, you know, like the carbonation, those are really good. Okay. Any other questions on sugar substitutes? All right, popular diets. So we have, you know, the Atkins, which is now like the keto diet of the Citrium. Then we have Zone diet, which I think was like a lower carb. South Beach was a little bit lower diet. Mediterranean, so that's more of like a whole grain, fruits and vegetables, lean proteins, lower on the dairy. Jenny Craig, I think that's where they give you the food, right? They like send you food and calorie restricted or whatever. And then Weight Watchers, where you count your portions and your points, and they've kind of changed that now too, where you don't have to count as much. They have a lot of free foods, which they did that just because, you know, it's like encouraging you to eat healthier foods, and you don't typically overeat on these free foods. So it's like chicken breast and beans and rice, and or not rice, but vegetables, so things that you wouldn't typically like overeat on. So what's best? I don't know, what do you guys think? Just like I said, right, a lot of information out there. So
What's a healthy amount of carbs to have in your daily, and what's too low? I mean, you have to have carbs.
Right.
So what's too low that's not healthy for your body, and then what's too high?
So, I mean, it's kind of depending on the person, like we always, you know, based on their weight and all that to get really specific, but in general, like 30 to 45 grams a meal is a really moderate, appropriate amount of carbohydrates. So just to give you an example, the keto diet, if you do the real keto diet, which a lot of people are just doing like a low carb diet, which is fine, but the keto diet calls for 15 to 30 grams for your entire day. So one piece of bread is 15 grams of carbohydrates. One apple is 15 grams of carbohydrates. So if you're following that diet, you're getting, you're allowed 2 pieces of bread the entire day, and the rest of your diet consists of meat and fat. So if you kind of think about that like in logical terms, like that doesn't sound very healthy, right? A red flag to diets really is if they say you have to eliminate an entire food group. When you eliminate an entire food group, you're eliminating nutrients. You're eliminating carbohydrates. You're eliminating fiber from your diet, right? You're eliminating folate and magnesium and iron and zinc and all these wonderful things that we get, potassium, vitamin C that we get from our carbohydrates, our fruits and our vegetables and our whole grains. So, it kind of comes back to having that balance, just eating balanced, doing something when it comes to like weight loss or just trying to make changes in your life. Try to think of, okay, I'm going to make this change. Can I do this for the rest of my life? Can I eat this way every day like this for the most part, till I'm 80? Like, if you can't, then there's no point in doing that change because you're going to lose the weight and then it's going to come back on when you start just following your old habits, right? So really long-term maintenance of living healthier and losing weight and keeping it off is just about being able to maintain that lifestyle. So you have to think like, what am I willing to do? What am I not willing to do? I don't want to live without bread, so maybe I shouldn't go on keto diet. So it's just very kind of it's depending on really you have to look at yourself and say what does a healthy, happy lifestyle look like to me, and then just work towards that. So I really like my favorite on here is the Mediterranean, just because they've had such great research and you don't have to really eliminate any foods, and it's really just kind of goes back to like healthy whole grains, fruits and vegetables, lean proteins. So it's a good one to look into. Any other questions on this stuff?
Couple of questions. One on the plate method, you mentioned about half the plate should be vegetables. Could that be a large salad?
Yeah, it can.
Good.
Yeah, non-starchy vegetable. So any kind of grains are great.
Question 2, water. How many glasses or bottles of water should be consumed per day?
Yeah, good question. A good rule of thumb is to take half your body weight in ounces of water. So if you weigh 200 pounds, try to drink 100 ounces of water a day.
Wow.
Yeah. It's good. It's good. It's a lot. But it's a good goal to work towards, right? So you have a specific number in mind. So
Is the Mediterranean diet the same as the paleo diet?
no, it's not the same. Paleo, I believe, eliminates grains and a lot of different foods, fruits as well. So it's a little bit of a lower carb diet. But it's fairly balanced still. But you do have to eliminate a lot of foods on there. So you just have to look at that and see is this enjoyable for me? Maybe not. Yeah.
This question, what would be your position on the necessity of having some kind of supplements?
Supplements? Sure.
Multiple vitamins or some kind of thing.
Sure, yeah. So supplements are really important if you have a deficiency. So if you've had a blood test by your doctor and they say you're deficient in vitamin D, then you do need to take a supplement for that. And that's where we really see the benefit of supplements is only if somebody has a deficiency. If we're not deficient in something and we're taking the vitamin, we don't really see a big benefit there. And then you have to consider when you take a supplement, you don't absorb all of it. You maybe absorb 20 to 30% of what's actually in the supplement, because it just goes through our digestive tract and a lot of it gets destroyed before it gets absorbed. We're just not going to absorb it the same as if we absorb it through food. In food, we have so many layers of nutrients that work together. We have phytochemicals that help absorb certain nutrients that you don't get in isolated supplements. So I always say supplements are just kind of a backup, like an insurance policy. If your diet's not very balanced, it is good to to have a supplement, you know, just as like a backup. It couldn't hurt usually, as long as you're not taking high doses of something. And if you are on a diet that has to restrict specific food groups, then you do need to supplement for what you're missing. So even on the keto diet, it's actually recommended that you do take a multivitamin supplement because you are lacking a lot of nutrients there. If you're vegan, we don't have a lot of sources. We don't really have any plant sources that provide vitamin B12. So you need to take a B12 supplement to help with that. So yeah, there are certain circumstances where it's needed, but for the most part, you know, just for general healthy population, you don't have to take one.
One last question.
Yeah.
GMOs versus organic.
Okay, yeah, that's a good question. So, so when it comes to organic and GMO, so those are, so organic is a farming process, right? It's a farming claim, it's not a health claim. So we have to differentiate between organic being a healthier option versus it being just a farming practice. Okay, so if you have organic Doritos and you have regular Doritos, the Doritos still have the same amount of fat, calories, sodium. The nutritional panel does not change. It was just the way that those grains and things were produced in the farm. So maybe they had different pesticides that were used, they had less pesticides that were used in the organic farming. Organic dairy is another good example. The nutritional panel of organic milk and regular milk is no different. Okay, but organic farms on the dairy side, they have to be like big pastures. They have to grow their own alfalfa, and the cows like feed off of the farm, so they have to have a lot of property where the cows are out actually grazing on. So there's like different standards of farming. So if you want to support more sustainable, maybe more even like responsible farming practices, definitely you should buy organic, and you're getting less exposure to pesticides too. You are when it comes to organic products. So I think it's always a good thing if you can, if you want to, but just know that just because, you know, this says organic doesn't mean it's necessarily healthier, if that makes sense, in a nutritional standpoint. But yeah. And then the GMO, sorry, the GMO, again, we don't have any like human studies to tell us if those are bad or not. So the GMOs, a lot of times they're created to be like to withstand some of the insect damage. So that's kind of nice because we don't have to use as much pesticides. But it's taking it again out of its natural form, so we don't know exactly what it's doing. But yeah.
For a lot of, you mentioned kind of the organic dairy and stuff, do they have any information on a lot of the growth hormones and stuff that they're using?
As far as
the health outcome?
the health outcome of it. You know what, that's a good question. I don't know exactly. I can't really quote a lot of the research on that. You could probably look onto like the Dairy Council of California. They have a lot of information on there in regards to like the organic farming versus the conventional. Yeah, that's a good question. I'm not sure exactly what the research links to that with the growth hormones. But yes, I think you just have to kind of go back to like anything out of its natural form. We don't really know what it's doing to our bodies, and so trying to find those products that are in its wholest form, less manipulated, is probably better. Any other questions? Okay, so this is kind of going back to those diets, too much of a good thing is never really a good idea. Trying to, have that variety with your colors and different grains, whole grains, being aware of the food labels and the ingredient list, so don't just, take a package for its cover. Keeping that food journal to kind of keep you more mindful of what you're eating, and then the vitamins and supplements. So another thing with those is that they're not regulated, right? So they can make any claim that they want to make. So food, we can't make any claim that we want to make. It actually is regulated, what they can say it does. So like Cheerios, it says it lowers your cholesterol. That's because it really does lower cholesterol, so they can actually say that. But otherwise, not all food products can make that claim. But supplements, you can make certifies that it's on the label. It'll tell you what's on the label is actually in the pills or in the supplement. But it doesn't say, it's not gonna guarantee you that you're gonna get that benefit from that they're claiming, but it will tell you at least you're consuming what's in the bottle. You know, it doesn't have some other kind of foreign substance in there. So just be careful of that, and anything you take, whether it's natural or not, it is a chemical and it will have a reaction in your body, so you always want to talk to your doctor about it and make sure it's safe for you. So these are some good resources to get more information, credible information, nutrition, Mayo Clinic, heart.org, diabetes.org, and then some hacks that are kind of fun to use and helpful. So, all right. Any other questions? Thank you guys. You can fill out your evaluation form.
Thank you.
Thank you.